anyone who's been in the event industry for over 3 years, like, you're a certain kind of crazy and we love you, right? Like, you have a certain kind of sickness that you just can't get enough of what the events industry community is, I think.
Yeah, boy, you need some rest though. You got to you need to recover from it. It's a special person, but what a great I don't know. It feeds me. It feeds me. It absolutely scratches and it's like being part of something that's greater than yourself to contribute.
Welcome to Beats Working, Winning the Game of Events, where we share stories and strategies to turn any event or life moment into something unforgettable.
Events are wild, and the people who work in them are some of the most resilient humans on Earth. If you know, you know.
So come with us behind the curtain for a look at their most memorable experiences.
As they say, the show must go on, so let's get on with the show. Welcome back to Beats Working, Winning the Game of Events. Today's guest is Stuart Butler, president of Butler Seattle and executive producer of the Northwest Event Show. If you haven't been, it's amazing, one of our favorite events of the year. With over 30 years in leadership and more than 40 in the hospitality industry, Stuart is truly a visionary force in shaping the Pacific Northwest as a global destination for meaningful experiences. While Butler Seattle delivers premium transportation and event services, Stuart's real superpower lies in storytelling, most notably through his leadership in evolving the Northwest Event Show into a must-attend international platform. From championing regional character to building global connections, Stuart leads with heart, precision, and purpose. Yes, he does. We love him. We're so glad he's here to share the behind-the-scenes blueprint for how events shape culture, community, and business. Welcome to Beats Working, Stuart.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And the crowd goes wild. The crowd goes wild.
So before I ask you a couple questions about the Northwest Event Show, can you just tell us how it started, where the idea came from, and I mean, it's kind of a big deal. So how did it go from a thought to an actual event?
Well, I am an inheritor of the show. The originator of the show was Marion Clifton. And Marion has passed, she passed a couple of years ago. But this show is 31 years old, and it actually started in Portland. Some people refer to, actually I was talking to somebody, they go, oh yeah, we used to have this show called Bravo. And so that was the origination of the show. And then Marion brought the show to Seattle, and she actually, her partner stayed in Portland, so it became two shows. And so she'd been running the show for a very long time. And I happened to get involved in 2017. And I was like, and every time I was part of an association, whether it be Alysse or we started Weddings in Woodville. Every time I either started something or was part of something, I would say, hey, Marion, I need you on my board. Because she was her and her sister are super talented. So she would just be part of anything that I was doing. They, anytime I needed graphics or just something really professional, they were part of our team. So we ended up just taking them as part of our team eventually and rolled them into what we were doing. Because the show was traditionally more of just a real trade show. And I thought it could be more. I thought it should be a conference, and we needed to reach out farther than our local audience. And so I got involved in 2018. And of course, we had amazing shows 2018, 19, and then we had this little hiccup in the timeline.
A little blip.
A little blip. And so I think that it's interesting. The whole evolution of our company has taken I don't care if you go all the way back to the 2000.com, 2008-9 recession, COVID. Each time we've had a disruption, it's changed our company, and COVID was no different. And so I think that we've we learn and we grow from it. And it's as much as it hurt, it forces us to do things that we would normally wouldn't have done. And so in hindsight, as much as it hurt, it also opens up your thought process, and you have to become something different.
Mm-hmm.
But so now we're 31. This is our 31. It's a 31-year-old show, and I couldn't be more excited to where we're going with the show and the possibilities, because it's taken us a long time from 2018 to here. I've learned an awful lot, because this is not necessarily my forte. If you know my background, we started off as a valet company, and we would, at our peak, we were doing 800 events a year. So logistics is kind of my I think my specialty really is sales. And then I have my brother who's more on the operational side. And then transportation, now we're running 60 plus vehicles in our transportation company. And again, 08, 09 changed us from a valet company to adding transportation. So that whole division came out of the recession. I definitely wouldn't have gone that way as fast. So that changed us. And then taking on the events industry, this is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And I tell you what, if you're in the events industry, I got so much respect for you of actually producing events. Is this my 8th, 9th year? And I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of really learning how to do this.
Well, let's talk about that, because as the Northwest Event Show evolves into an international platform, which is, the direction it's headed, how do you ensure the planning stays true to the Pacific Northwest roots and identity while also attracting a global audience? What does that look like?
Well, I think that number one, our priority is our current audience, right? Which is local and regional. And as we extend that invite out further, I think everybody's just excited to embrace, new people into the area, because we all win from that, right? So I don't think there's really an issue of having people from, a larger or farther destination coming in, because they're the ones that are bringing events here and exposing us to new ideas and new resources. So I just think it's a natural fit, and we learn from each other. And so the more the merrier.
I think that's one really special thing about the event community. I mean, definitely here in the greater Seattle area, but also I've felt this in other places as well, that everyone's ready to, network, help each other, refer people. It's a very friendly, community-based community, I guess.
Well, collaboration, right? It's all collaboration, community over competition. I mean, it's a rising tide. This industry is absolutely rising tide. And we service, the ecosystem is interesting because, you have your suppliers and you have your planners, and then you have your, I'd say your event owners. And it's super important that they're connected. And the stronger the supplier industry is, the more we can serve. And so if there was a message I could tell to the, event owners is, it's super important for their support, because the stronger this industry is, the more we can serve. And we are built to serve them, the corporate, as much as we serve the social, we have, obviously we have World Cup coming in. And that's going to really test us as a community and our resources. But the stronger our industry, the stronger, the better events, the better meetings we can, produce. It's a cycle that serves.
Absolutely.
And it grows. Mm-hmm. And it constricts when we have hiccups or they pull back, right? But we've seen this last couple of years just this expansion of how important meetings and events are. And it'll be interesting to see where in the next couple of years where that goes, with trying to understand where truth is in the face-to-face and, what's so I think events are going to be really, really, really important, and the human connection. And that's where we're leaning. I mean, in fact, that's, if you think about where we're heading with the Northwest Event Show, it's all about human connection and face to face. And you'll hear more and more about that and that story from us.
Well, and we've said this on the show before, and I'm sure we'll say it 100 more times, but anyone who's been in the event industry for over 3 years, like, you're a certain kind of crazy and we love you, right? Like, you have a certain kind of sickness that you just can't get enough of what the events industry community is, I think.
Yeah, boy, you need some rest though. You got to, you need to recover from it. It's a special person, but what a great, I don't know. It feeds me. It feeds me. It absolutely scratches, and it's like being part of something that's greater than yourself to contribute, even on whether it be the parking or transportation. I think we get to do some things that are, supporting the corporate that we get to do, or even being part of a wedding. We're such an integral, we're such a key piece, because even on the parking or transportation, just the little pieces we play. Hey, if transportation is awful, and it's just, there's so many moving parts to an event. So I don't know. I love it. I love the impact we get to have. I love the impact we get to have on people that come here from around the world, that come visit. And I think I think that's a message that I actually tell them. I think that a message to this industry is everybody in this industry, whether you're from our team, a driver, the impact that each of us has is incredible. And that if I could share any message, that would be the message, is that each of us as an individual has an absolute massive impact, not just locally, but globally, from what we do and how we treat people.
Yeah, I love that.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I promise you, we will get right back to this amazing conversation. But first, here's a quick word about Classy Problems. It's part of our Sidekick Way ecosystem. Take a listen.
Most event problems, not life or death, even though they feel like it. They're classy problems.
Moments when the AV guy ghosts, the keynote's flight gets delayed, or the Wi-Fi dies 5 minutes before showtime.
But a classy problem isn't a crisis. It's your chance to get scrappy, creative, and win the day.
Find yours at classyproblems.com, because the show must go on. Speaking of moving parts, the Northwest Event Show has so many of them: vendors, speakers, logistics, experiences, many days, multiple locations. What is one moment, like you said, 9 years in, you're just scratching the surface, but one moment in these last 8 or 9 years where things got messy, but the magic still happened, because we love a comeback story.
I'm the messy.
You're the mess, Stuart.
Confession
I'm the
time.
mess.
It is Stuart.
So I'm learning. I think this year more than any, I'm learning to, well, my team is trying to rein me in and say, not have these ideas so late in the game and try to implement. I think the actual event, when you have professionals and you're working with great partners, things are gonna go how they go. And I think that's just how, any event goes. And so, but what can we do to reduce those? And that is being ahead of the game. What can we actually accomplish? What can we do well? And those are the things that I think that the lesson that I'm learning is trying to be creative earlier and implementing or crafting those experiences. But I got to tell you, last year we did Sunset on the Salish Sea, and that thing came together very, very late, but it was awesome. And sometimes those great ideas, as late as they are, and the energy that you put into them, that I think sometimes is the energy and the magic that comes out of that too, because you're so invested and you're just so, and then it's like, let's see where that goes. And Last year's, although it was on the night we were supposed to have baseball size hail.
I was going to say it was kind of meant to be because the weather was supposed to be insane, and then it was kind of beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It was gorgeous until 7:00, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't, but it was still an absolute beautiful evening on the waterfront. Yeah, it was fantastic.
When you say that event came together rather last minute, what's the runway we're talking? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 2 days?
60 days. Let me put it this way. My last partner came in 2 days prior. And we didn't have everybody's, what are you doing? We had 13 activations on the waterfront. We didn't have every activation, from what are you actually doing so that we could post it. Marketing of that was really late, was really a challenge. And of course, in my mind, I knew what I was saying and doing, but what people were hearing was another, right? So that was another learning curve of, I was saying sunset on the Alysse. Of course, the Alysse is the Puget Sound, which, and the people just thought, oh, this is just another, come down, watch the sunset. No, we had 13 different experiences. And I think the challenge there was then you trying to communicate, but you're also throwing out incredible amount of communication to your audience. So they're not able to really consume it and understand it. And I think that was the biggest challenge I think it's messaging. And everybody's so busy that it's messaging. So they take the moment to hear it and consume it and really understand it and then want to participate. So.
That's true. In an event that big with so many components, the messaging would be difficult or is difficult. I mean, what have you found is the best way for you guys, as a team, as a leadership team, as a board and a planning team to connect with the audience and to really make sure that they're hearing what you're trying to say?
I actually think it's the network of people sharing. And I think this year I'm super excited because we have more, we're really getting deep into Amazon, their network. And for them to share within their network to get the admins and the planners from Amazon and Microsoft, it really is, to me, getting that information to them to get them excited to be able to disseminate the enthusiasm and the share. So that's one way that we're really working to share the messaging. And then is through these networks. And then I would say that it's been a process for us. The more that people get in, come to the show, realize what the show's about, they're our message, right? They're our messaging platform, really is. And I think that's something that I was talking to my team about this. It's hard to actually have this conversation or talk that way to get people excited and activate people. And I think that's one of the things that we really need to do to grow the show to where we want it to. Is it's been a slow process, but how do you do it we have some pretty big goals. And how do you do it in a way that you can compound or you can bring the timeline forward and say, oh, I want to reach this level in 5 years, but really, how do we reach that level in 2 years? And I think that me personally, not being, I have a tough time putting myself, I'm not that type of person. I think we have to actually speak in a different way to activate people. I mean, the show is incredible. And people talk about it, but we need to activate them and we need them to bring their energy and their enthusiasm when other people hear that, that's what I think they're going to really go, I've got to be there. This is something I've got to go be part of.
Well, I think that was one of the coolest things that Alysse and I talked about many times at the event and after the event this year was just the tangible energy you could feel in the room was just awesome. And it can be really hard to find that at events, especially with as many people as were there. But it was just good vibes in every part of the show, at every booth that we went to, just with the interactions we had with people. It was, it was really cool. It was really something neat to experience as a participant. So.
Thank you. Well, I think we need to double down on that, and we need to, and then we need to ask for that, right? Ask for that our audience, and it's not just an audience, but this is what we're doing. I really think what we're doing is super important. This isn't just about, this is growing business. This is growing our community. This is connecting people, and it's just not a show. We're really trying to create a movement. In fact, one of the things that we're working on this year is I was just reading this book. I don't know if you guys have read it, Unreasonable Hospitality.
It's on our list. You recommended it to us.
We just got it.
And we just started
got
reading
it.
it.
All right. Well, that is a super powerful book. And I think with AI coming and all the changes, and I think we're such a tech heavy area. And the more I try to stay on top of what's going on economically and how's that going to impact business, how's that going to impact our community, I really think that we need to be double down on hospitality and the connections that we create. And I think that we're going to be the Northwest Event Show will be heavily focused on how do we create those connections, but also with a very hospitality focused. I think that one of the initiatives that I have is how do we elevate our hospitality as a community? And I'm like, it's just how do we treat each other, right? But it spills over, and it spills over. And when I walk the waterfront heads up, and when you connect with people, just eye to eye, that's part of community, right? Just connecting with people and just recognizing somebody for who they are walking. And I don't know, I think that's something I want to really elevate in this area of how are we showing up, and so you'll hear more about how, and even in fact, I was talking to Dan about this, who's, by the way, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm wrangling Dan to come be on my board. This is Dan Robb. Yeah. So, and I think that the impact that we can have, not only locally and regionally, but on the message of globally, is that it's just part of our humanity and how we treat each other and how we connect. And our industry is so critical in this, right? And we're a leader in this. This is what we do. We bring people together. And it's like, what if we were just, that was our superpower as a community, is we're leading that way. And I think that, so there's another book I was just reading, and it's on the science of scaling. So I was thinking about this. Well, what would it take to scale hospitality? And I'm like, because I think that's a pretty cool concept. If we could really scale hospitality in our region, what would that look like as we invite the world to come experience and the Pacific Northwest? And it's just not Seattle, but we're the gateway to the Pacific Northwest. Mm-hmm. I think that so I think that's going to be an initiative coming out of the Northwest Event Show that I'm super excited about. So when I read that book, I was like, yeah, this is we need to be right here.
Well, I feel like you just answered a question I haven't even asked yet, but like at the end of the event, when the lights go down at the show and the booths are packed up, what does success look like? And how do you know you made an impact? But I feel like you just answered that. It's making the Pacific Northwest the most hospitable place on the planet. That's all.
Wouldn't that be? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's all we're trying to accomplish.
That's it. No big deal.
No big deal.
5-year plan should be fine.
Yeah. And if you read the science of scaling, that means, well, you can accomplish it faster if you actually bring the timeline forward. Say, well, if we want to make that in 3 years, what are the steps we have to take? They're different than if you're saying, oh, that's a 10-year goal. Making that a 3-year goal is completely different. Your steps and your whole process changes. So I'm really kind of diving into that, but the experiences and Will Gadara with he's talking about and it's Maya Angelou, how we make people feel, right? This is about this is, ultimately, and the book is not just about talking about hospitality. It's a great business book because it's also, within our businesses, how we make each other feel, how we make our team feel. And so I really highly recommend it. There's just a ton of great information. It's so inspirational. And there's references. There you go. There you go.
There it is.
There's references
Product placement.
I know I got it.
References to even local, Brian Canlis, who Will met in, met in school. And so there's some references to to Seattle in it. So it felt, it was a cool read.
I love that. I love it. Okay. One more question before we wrap. You are not just producing events and managing logistics. You are building relationships. And we've talked about that in this episode. If anybody knows you, they have felt that, I would think, just by speaking with you once or just by making eye contact on the waterfront. But can you share a behind the scenes moment from the show that shows the power of putting people and storytelling first? Because I feel like really embody, like we said, like we've been talking about, this idea of unreasonable hospitality and really putting the people first.
So there's a gentleman, Zig Ziglar, and this is old school. He's long, but he had this saying, if you can have everything you want in life, if you help enough people get what they want. And so my favorite part of the show is meeting people and going, oh my gosh, you need to know. And I get to walk them over to the other people, there and connect them and say, and start the conversation. And if there's anything that I do, that's what I do. That's my superpower, is connecting people and seeing who needs to connect with who and introducing people that just haven't met but need to know each other because they are amazing people and they have their services are just aligned, or maybe the way they talk, or they just need to know each other, because crazy things happen when you show up and you connect people that just start having a conversation and you're curious and you learn about the other person, and all of a sudden you find this alignment of where you would have never found it. That to me is the greatest part of the show, is for me, personally, is creating these connections. And I don't know, I think there's opportunities everywhere. And when you do that, ultimately that's the creative part, right? I think that's the creative, the innovation. And the more you do that, opportunities just continue to pop up, and we're fostering that. We're fostering that. And I know that we had a planner that she emailed afterwards. She had just booked 13 vendors from the show. And, and stuff that she hadn't known about. And so she was super, that, by the way, Alysse, that's, talk about a win, and when you guys come back, the energy people talk, I walked the show and I could feel the energy, and I'm like,
it was different this year. It was different.
What was funny is that we were at the summit the year before, right? And we were 200,000 square feet before, and we were 100,000 square feet this year. Same number of people, smaller space.
It made the difference.
Yeah. And so we'll be back there again this year, but I think that the space, we'll have a little bit more space this year, but I think compressing people where their physicality is that's part of it, right? Just the energy.
That's the human connection. That's the literal energy that people feed off of.
Exactly. And so, I think that was a huge difference this year. And we need to double down on that. And one of the things we're working on is also bringing more. It's just not the show, but it's we have our guides, the Northwest Event Guide and the Northwest Wedding Guide. These are resources, right? So we're working on bringing these resources to all of our, to the reach of the Pacific Northwest and beyond. But it's funny that you kind of looping back to your first question. You talk about the local and versus the international. I would argue that we've only tapped probably 5% of the local that would benefit from attending our show.
Mm-hmm. Sure. That's fair. I can see that.
This industry, the meeting and event industry, touches every vertical. Every vertical uses it. And if you're not, they should be, because you're talking about culture. You're talking about, client events. You're talking about, I don't care what, everybody's using meetings or should be using meetings and events in a way to connect with your audience or your team or product launch, whatever it is. This industry supports all that. And I think that's we need to be sharing that and teaching that. I think that helps drive economy. That helps drive this industry.
Well, your mentality towards, your favorite part of the show and how you measure success, I think is clearly really trickling down, because I think, as I've said, Alysse and I felt it. It's not a show where you feel like people are clamoring after you to sell you a shoe or something. I've never been to a show like that, to be clear. But yes, everybody there has, a business. They're a vendor of some kind. They have some kind of connection to the industry, but it really is a show that is so connection-based and community-based that even if you're, afraid of going in and meeting people, I think it's, just such a great place to start. If you haven't been to an event show, this is definitely the one I'd start with.
Really appreciate that. And tickets will be on sale soon. So if you want to learn more, you can go to Northwest Event and NWEventshow.com. NWEventshow.com. You can register your interest. And when we do put tickets on for sale, you'll get the best price. We'll put that out there right away. So, but yeah, I'm excited for creating something that really just, brings people together and amplifies, connection, because I think that's what it's all, to me, that's what it's all about. That's where, and as we move forward, that's where trust is, right? As I try to get off these platforms. I'm not on very many platforms. I don't spend a lot of time, but I was just on a platform, social platform the other day, and I'm like, this is, you could just see more and more of, I'm going to go with untruth or the way that they're presenting. And I'm like, it's becoming, they can pump it so fast and you're like, where's reality? Where's reality? And I think we get to double down and share that and bring it together and say, this is what's real, right? This is all about connection, trust. So I'm really excited about the future of the show and what we're doing. And I really thank you for having me on today.
We love having you on here. We'll have a part 2 once we get closer to the show for a little sneak peek episode. We'll definitely be linking information about this in the show notes. We'll be posting about it. We buy tickets as soon as they go on sale because
Libby does. She always does. It's usually end of October, November. She's on it. She's on it.
I am a fan. So I will be posting about it, sharing it with my people. And we are just so thankful to have you on, Stuart.
Thank you. I'll just real quick. So can I share a little bit about what's the 3 days that's happening?
Yeah.
Actually, it might be 4 days now. So yeah, I know. It's we're trying to get it done early so I don't last.
The idea man.
Right. So we have Culinary Connections probably happening on Monday night. So those are the dine arounds. Last year we were 7 different, and the connections there. We're working on this one called a Supra. And if you haven't had a Supra dinner, they toast. It is incredible. It's very intentional how they bring people together. And it's also just the energy and the conversations. I would say kind of a Priya, a lot of Priya Parker, if you're familiar with her intentionality. It's that type of event, but it's a lot of toasting. And everybody is very organic, the way that they bring themselves forward and share. It's super cool. So that'll be on Monday. On Tuesday, we'll have education on Tuesday. We're looking at doing Sunset on the Sailor Sea Part 2, and now that the Seattle waterfront's fully open. And if you haven't been down there,
it's gorgeous.
My gosh, it is
gorgeous.
It's it is world class. It is so amazing. So I'm super excited to have that again. Day 3, of course, we're going to be a 1-day show this year, not a 2-day. So we're only going to have 1 day, and the energy should be even more because that means everybody's going to be on one day.
We'll be there all day long from start to close.
Yep. And then that evening we'll probably do an event ceremony, some kind of a gathering, and we'll do I think we're going to do events like we did, or not events, but awards like we did last year, but maybe a full award ceremony. We've got somebody that just came onto our board who's been doing events in Dubai for 20 years, and he's like, we need to do these awards. And I'm like, okay, well, as long as you lead it.
If it's good enough for Dubai, it's good enough for Seattle. Okay.
Well, he's doing some big stuff, and I'm like, welcome aboard. So super excited about that. And then Thursday, we're going to do experiences all over Seattle. So we're going to do, whether it be ballooning tours, maybe a Woodinville wine tour, but we're going to have a selection of tours and experiences happening all day throughout the city that you can join and be part of.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a really good idea, because there were a lot of, people we met at the show where if that had been an option, I think we would have been like, oh yeah, we'll definitely do this tomorrow. This is
So how do we activate the city? So we'll activate the city, and we'll be doing experiences that you can join in on and go see and have new experiences.
Well, thank you, Stuart. We are so excited for the show. It's already on my calendar, as Alysse said, or her calendar too, because I manage hers as well sometimes.
She does, yeah.
April 28, 29, and 30.
All right, folks. Well, that is a wrap for this episode of Beats Working. If you've got an idea or you want to reach out, email us at info@beatsworking.show. Remember that every detail matters, every moment counts, and no matter what, the show must go on.
Thanks for listening to Beats Working, Winning the Game of Events, where we explore what it takes to make moments unforgettable.
If you're leaving with a little more inspiration, a little more perspective, and a big side ache from all of the laughing at our funny jokes, then we've done our job.
Beats Working is a Work P2P production. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platforms.
Your support helps us keep the magic going.